Hello everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and money color commentator. On today's show, significantly reducing taxes on RMDs and Social Security, part 5 in our series on tax-favored retirement strategies with retirement consultant Jamie Hibbard. Welcome to the 5th segment, Jamie.
Thank you for having me.
I didn't want to get too bold on my title here, so I said significantly reducing, but actually, if we do this right, and if you've been watching our segments, and I highly recommend that you watch them in chronology, so that you get the idea and the mechanics of the steps we have to take in order. There's a priority here.
Right.
You might be able to eliminate your RMDs altogether.
Right, zero.
I mean, this is shocking. Now, this is something millennials they're looking at this now saying, why should I do my retirement like my baby boomer parents did? I could do this and eliminate all of these regs like RMD and provisional income test on my Social Security. Now, you talk about some of these things in your book called The Red Zone.
We do.
And this is available on your website. And again, I say this is an easy read. If you're a consumer and you say, Steve, I don't know anything about this. Well, this is a consumer-centric written book. Easy content to read, and I think you'll find it easy. It probably could drop it about 90 minutes. Probably take about 90 minutes. Now, I'm looking at what we've talked about. We talked about, the taxation was the #1 issue in the first segment.
Sure.
And it is. There's no other expense in retirement that's going to take money out of your pocket than that. Now, LTC is #2, but #1, taxes. #2, we have 4 different tax-free monies. We're using 2 of those. One of the ones we're not using is HSA accounts and reverse mortgage. But we're talking about the other two, which is cash value life insurance and Roth IRAs.
Right.
Both of those, if done correctly, can come out tax-free.
That's correct.
All right. Now, you chose out of everything ERISA has out on the street. We're not using a defined benefit plan. We're using a profit-sharing plan.
Right.
All right. So, or contribution plan either. So when I'm looking at a profit-sharing plan, and I look at profit-sharing plan, that is used because it's only one of 2, if I understood this.
That's correct.
That can use cash value life insurance.
Yeah. So we have to make sure that before we start this type of plan that we have something that can hold the life insurance in the tax efficient manner that we need, and it is either that profit sharing plan, which is usually the one that we look towards.
Okay. Now, I have to say, in my experience in retirement, most of the mistakes I see by seniors, and now because I'm now in the zone myself, I talk about being red alert on, you got 2 issues. You can't take money out until you're 59.5, and now you're sitting on the other end saying, and you better take out the right amount at 70.5.
Right.
I mean, how dangerous is this not to make this number work?
That's right. You have these 2 goalposts set up by the IRS. You can't touch your money until 59.5, and then if you don't touch your money by 70.5, they make you. So if you don't stick to the rules, there's penalties, and just how you combine all these things together, it's very important for your ultimate financial security.
Now, you represent the millennial generation. I'm wondering if you guys should be in ERISA at all.
And that's something that we've been talking about a lot with our clients, is that does it make sense? Of course, you always take your employer match 401k contributions, because that's instantly doubling your money. But, move towards these 2 tax-deferred buckets that we discussed in the previous segments, the Roth IRA, life insurance, because they're the only 2 things that grow tax-deferred, and you can access completely tax-free in the future.
Well, I like the ability. In fact, actually, at a millennial gathering that I spoke at, I talk about maximizing, or maybe you may want to maximize your HSA account. You will always need medical issues.
Right.
You'll always have medical premiums. You get a tax deduction and comes out tax-free. There's nothing I know on the planet that does that.
Yeah.
So that's a huge issue. And I just bring it up and you say, Steve, I don't have information on that. If you write me at steve@lifesizesolutions.com, I'll send you everything on HSA accounts, profit-sharing plans, Roth IRAs, Index Universal Life. I'll supply you with anything that you need on. I have stuff on this, all of it. Now, let's talk about this. Now, can I say this after doing segment 1 through 4? Can I say that I just took care of, if I rolled over all my other qualified plans into my profit sharing plan, am I now out from under the RMD age 70 penalty?
Absolutely. RMDs could potentially be completely eliminated from your retirement plan. These RMDs are added towards your provisional income, which increases your potential taxes that you pay, and by doing this strategy, it completely knocks that out.
Every year, seniors have to recalculate their qualified plan to find out what their RMDs. I mean, I think it's so painful, and you got to go back to your advisor, and some of our advisors don't even know how to do the calculation.
Right, and you get the call at the end of the year as the advisor, hey, I got to take these RMDs out, and it's never a positive thing. It's always a got to take these RMDs.
Yes, and I'd like to give Americans the right and the ability to make the election themselves, not be by compulsion, but be because they want to use it or whatever.
Exactly.
But we're talking about eliminating it altogether. So there's no 50% penalty now. I don't have RMDs.
Right.
I'm not paying ordinary income tax. I already did that on the transfer from my profit sharing plan to my Roth.
Right. Right now you have two completely tax-free buckets that you can access in your retirement.
I don't have to take my Roth out at age 70.
Nope.
Yes? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Do I have to take my cash value distributions at age 70 on my cash value life insurance?
You don't.
So there's no regs now. I'm out from under.
There's no rules or stipulations with these two buckets left to say you have to do this or you don't. It's strictly up to you and what makes sense in your overall financial plan.
And I might want to recommend, remember, we talked about this in the earlier, just to keep in the back of your head, if you can't get completely, because we might have a lot of boomers watching, it's too late, they can't convert everything.
Right.
But let's just say you have some monies that you could send forward. You still could use a qualified longevity annuity contract and send it all the way out to age 85 if you really don't need it. You're not getting around taxes, you're just deferring it.
Right.
Okay. Who qualifies for this? This is it's somewhat of a sophisticated idea here. Who qualifies for this?
And I hope that comes across over the past 4 segments is there are some moving pieces to this. There is a knowledge curve that needs to be addressed. And what that means is that you don't want to do this with $50,000 in your qualified plan. You may want to look more towards if you have $500,000 or up. But it is flexible, and it just all depends on is this strategy a large enough portion of your retirement plan that it makes sense to do this.
All right, let me ask you this. From the bottom, did I hear you say, though, that the threshold really should be about $500,000?
That's what I'd say.
Okay.
It's not set in stone, but that's a pretty safe number.
All right, so if I have $500,000, and I may have it in several places. I might have it in my 401k, IRA, I might even have some Roth. If I have about $500,000, I'm going to owe, let's say I had $500,000 and I'm like a couple of days out from retirement, right? This is a problem, right? I'm going to lose about a third of this.
You are.
Maybe more.
Yep.
But if I'm a little younger in my 50s, can I still, I got my qualification on the size of my account. What about the age? When can I start thinking about this? And when is it maybe too late? I mean, I'm thinking like Steve Savant, too late for Steve, but maybe not for others.
Well, I would say as long as you pass the rules inside your qualified plan to purchase life insurance, which is your money's 2 years old or you've been in the plan for 5 years, then it makes sense that there is no too young of an age. As you're getting on the other side of things, it may not make sense if you're in your mid to late 60s, especially from an income point of view. It still might make sense from an estate point of view, but then you also have the difficulties that come along with writing life insurance, exams and stuff like that. But so for a younger person, it's a slam dunk. All the way up to, I'd say, 65. It still makes a lot of sense.
It could make sense. I mean, and you might, depending upon the carrier, you might be able to get a surrogate insured in there. I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe that could be possible.
That's a great idea.
All right. So I have young people. Definitely, if you're a millennial like Jamie is, and you're watching this show, I'm telling you, there's ways to construct a completely tax-free, if you can get at the front end of this curve. My kids are doing it. And if, again, as you've always pointed out, if you're getting a match from employer, you got to take it.
You got to take it.
But we'll take care of converting that later.
Right.
But let's just take that. Now, for people that are watching this show that are business owners, because this is a target market. It's not just for business owners, but a lot of them that look at this, they have money tied up, and most of them have more than $500,000 in, especially boomers.
Right.
How can I get in see if I qualify for this? I have the money. I have the timeline still.
Sure.
And I have to do the math. If I'm in a certain tax bracket, I need to start looking at this. Do you have any idea? Can you kind of, hey, where does the tax bracket lay out? Where am I at?
So and like you said before, it can't be important enough. You don't want to, when you do this conversion to Roth, you don't want to move up into that next bracket because that's just basically money down the drain. And it really just depends on how much you have inside these buckets, how much you might need to reduce them by. There's lots of different factors at play. You want to make sure that however you start taking it, whether you do the QLS or not, you're really just minimizing the tax burden as much as possible.
Well, just a little heads up. If you're paying the Obama 3.8% capital gain tax, you are qualified for this. If you're paying the hospital 0.9, if you see on your W-2 that little 0.9 come across, you qualify. So if you're a player in this and you're a business owner, if you're paying those two things, this could greatly reduce your exposure to taxes. Hey, I want to thank you for being on
Thanks
our
for
show,
having
Jamie,
me.
and explaining this series on tax advantage retirement plans. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any ideas on our show, always check with your tax consultant, legal counsel, or your financial advisor. You've been watching Steve Savant's Money. The name of his life.